Emergency 911, this is Oscar Lines being recorded.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
What?
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. I want to let you know I'm in Orlando and I did the shooting.
What's your name?
My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. By the way, there's some vehicles outside that have some bombs, just to let you know. Your people are going to get it, and I'm going to ignite it if they try to do anything stupid.
Okay, I understand that, and I'll pass that along. Can you tell me what vehicle? Because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
No. Well, you need to know that they need to stop bombing Syria and Iraq. The U.S. is collaborating with Russia, and they're killing innocent women and children, okay?
I hear what you're saying.
My homeboy Tamerlan Tsarnaev did his thing on the Boston Marathon. My homeboy Munir Abu Salha did his thing, okay? So now it's my turn, okay?
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. This is our advice to take the following steps. If exposed, remove from the road.
Podcast for the curious mind. I don't know what that means.
Broadcasting live from a Chinese-made microphone. Hi, Top Sioux Nation. I am Jamal, cussing with Hussing here with May Massacre. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I loved what we did there, or what you did there with the beginning. That is phenomenal. We should do that more often. That's really cool.
I think you're right. I think it's a nice little teaser into what we're talking about. Give sort of a pretense, set the mood for the show. This is not going to be a it's not going to be a fun subject, but it's also, it's conspiracy week here at Phantom Fact Society.
Yep.
And I'm glad to have the greatest conspiracy mind of them all here with me. Wait till we start getting into sports conspiracies. That's that's a show you need to host, because there's a million right there to go on. But today we're going up against U.S. government conspiracies, and we've started with that clip. Should we play that clip again?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Emergency 911, this is Oscar Lines being recorded.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
What?
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. I want to let you know I'm in Orlando and I did the shooting.
What's your name?
My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. By the way, there's some vehicles outside that have some bombs, just to let you know. Your people are going to get it, and I'm going to ignite it if they try to do anything stupid.
Okay, I understand that, and I'll pass that along. Can you tell me what vehicle? Because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
No. Well, you need to know that they need to stop bombing Syria and Iraq. The U.S. is collaborating with Russia, and they're killing innocent women and children, okay?
I hear what you're saying.
My homeboy Tamerlan Tsarnaev did his thing on the Boston Marathon. My homeboy Munir Abu Salha did his thing, okay? So now it's my turn, okay?
This is the 911 audio call. We have the initial one from 911 dispatch, and then the last two clips are with the hostage negotiator at the club, the Pulse. Now, do you remember hearing about this shooting?
No, I was just trying to look that. I don't know if I was living under a rock. What did Devin say? His line the other day, living under a rock, struggling something. I love that because that's so true. I don't remember this. The last Orlando shooting I thought was dildos and gay people, but I'm not sure. Maybe that was.
This is interesting because it's the worst mass shooting in American history.
What?
Until Las Vegas, which happens a year later.
Oh, okay. So this was a while back.
This is
Okay.
2016, June of 2016. To set the mood, we're in the middle of a general election between Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump. Trump has already been selected for the Republican side. Hillary has been selected for the Democratic side. They are fundraising at this point in time. A lot of money being raised for both political campaigns ahead of the debates. I don't think they had the debate yet. I think the debate comes later in the year. So this is sort of the time frame we're working with right now. Obama is in a lame duck session with Congress and everyone there. And so, and you know how it is in politics. It's crazy. Everyone's trying, now that especially as soon as the parameters have been set, once we know, who the final two are going to be, then it's just a frenzy of cash being thrown out to every investigative research team, da da da, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So crazy time. I bring this up because we're in an election year right now. And just as Americans, I don't know how it is for other cultures, but election years are a crazy time. Like there's always things that happen, and then they seem almost to like disappear overnight because it could affect one party one way or the other. This is the case, I feel, with the Orlando shooting. Now, the Las Vegas shooting killed 60 people. This Orlando shooting killed 50.
Oh, okay.
Now the injuries in the Vegas shooting are, considerably higher because, it was just unsolicited gunfire everywhere. And you
Well,
can,
that was maybe more than one person. This Orlando thing, I was just looking. There's no real talk I couldn't find of multiple shooters. It was
oh,
just
yeah, it's just,
one individual.
yep. Yep. And as far as conspiracy goes, this is not the same thing as what happened in Las Vegas. The only relation is it was the worst mass shooting before the Vegas shooting, which happens a year later. So I mean, and you and I both have no way of forgetting the day Vegas got shot up. We'll remember hearing about that on the news. There's no living under a rock when it came to that, May.
Yeah.
You heard about that.
Yes.
All right. Why didn't you hear about the Orlando shooting? Or why wasn't it as such a deep impact as the Vegas shooting?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is um
Well, and
I don't know if race is but the individual that did this Orlando shooting and the ties to what do you say, Iraq and Syria, and trying to tell the negotiator that we need to get our nose out of it. Like, I don't know. I don't. You figure that would get steam and that would be shoved all down our throat like everything else because that's you know.
well, let's
But
consider the political philosophy at the time. Obama, in his second term, had begun the what do they call it, the Middle East spring, or what they call that, the spring revolutions all across the Middle East. They ran in Egypt and they tried to run in Iran, and they tried to run all of these like little NGO revolutionary groups of people, similar to what they did in Ukraine, but they did it all across the Middle East. And then you had ISIS pop up and these other um and I'm now I
start up terrorist groups.
that's what I begin to wonder, like what constitutes the terrorist use. Like we talk about the Houthis, and then if you watch the Houthis, like their own broadcasts, they identify themselves as the Yemen army. So like I use these terms. I use these terms according to the propaganda that was taught to me back in 2014 when it comes to that. Because we were, and if you remember too, in 2016, the chemical bombings in Aleppo, Syria took place. Do you remember hearing about that? There was like supposedly the Syrian king had bombed Aleppo with chemical gas and
Hmm.
had gassed all his citizens. You don't. Yeah, this was a huge.
No.
Yeah, this was a huge thing in 2016. So in Syria, the king of Syria, who was once like a good friend with people in LA, and he's sort of like a hip king. Now he's persona non grata. And he's bombing with chemicals his own people in the city of Aleppo. And there's video footage. The white hats are there. Doctors Without Borders are there. Well, then it turns out through investigation that none of these these barrels that contain chemical gas, could be produced in Syria. There's no actual.
Oh.
It's a huge psyop, and it's discovered amongst the internet rather quickly, and it single-handedly prevents us from going to war in Syria. The fact that the internet was able to digest all the pictures that were shown to us and prove that there was nothing of this sort going on over there in Aleppo from the Syrian regime. All right, so you've got so that
So
means
he just wanted he just wanted fake clout for bombing his own people. I don't
no,
understand it.
he didn't bomb his own people. This was American financed
Oh, of
chemical
course it
warfare.
was. Of
Yes.
course it was.
Yes. We were creating.
That's where my tax dollars went in 16.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Makes sense.
we
No
created
wonder
a
I haven't seen a
scenario.
fucking tax return.
Yeah, I miss the good old days of Panama where you could like stash a couple porn magazines into a duffel bag and take down a leader. Now we got to gas a whole city,
Yeah.
in order to, raise up a little. And even that didn't work. So no doubt the State Department is scratching their heads on how to, make this work. And then in the middle of all of this going on in June, 911 gets this call.
Emergency 911, this is Oscar Lines being recorded.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
What?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. I want to let you know I'm in Orlando, and I did the shooting.
Okay, and we've watched it twice now, but this takes place. And as that night unfolds, several things happen. This man, Omar Mateen, enters a nightclub called The Pulse, which is known for being a gay nightclub. He enters it at 2 o'clock. Empties like I forget. I think it's like 112 rounds. Injures 100 people. Kills 50. And then holds up in a bathroom with human hostages, threatening to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear, the 911 dispatch call there. He's admitting to doing the killings. They get police there. He claims that there's bombs in certain vehicles in the parking lot. Turns out that's not true. After investigation, they find out that, there was no bombs.
That's a good bluff though, right? Because that's going to either buy you more time, that's going to give you an extra layer of protection in a sense, so he can start, trying to scramble and think. Like, why wouldn't you say that? Hey, I've got 10 vehicles out there rigged with explosives. Be careful. That's just going to buy you more time. So even though it was horseshit, I mean, that's not a bad thought. It's also super
Now,
sketchy.
obviously, Fox News picks up the name of the shooter after this all has taken place, and they run with terrorists because that's what Fox News does. Like the first thing they're like, it's no different. Everyone bitches about how NBC and CBS look for main stories. Like if there's a shooting, a police shooting, was it a white guy on a black guy?
Yeah.
Fox does the exact same thing, but just in its own special flavor. So in this case, especially at the height of these news organizations, which is pre-Trump presidency, Fox catches the name that this guy, Omar Mateen, has gone into a gay club. So all of the signs are there that this is a terrorist attack. And they run with that story. They say possible terrorist attack, That's the theme. Even some other news networks pick it up. And then, in a moment of bravery, the Department of Justice, ran by Eric Holder of the Obama administration, decides to not release any of the phone or transcripts from the phone calls that night.
Surprise, surprise.
And this is like maybe the first time I recall where there was an active like, hey, we're not going to let you know what he said or what he wanted. We're just going to say he killed a lot of people and he's dead. And he was a lone wolf. Do you remember hearing that term, lone wolf? This is a lone wolf attack. A lone wolf attack.
Yeah.
You think this is a? I mean, listen to this guy again. Right. This is the last time. I'm gonna force you to listen to it, but listen to this guy. His demeanor. Is he? Does he sound like a lone wolf?
Emergency 911, this is Oscar Lines being recorded.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
What?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. I want to let you know I'm in Orlando, and I did the shooting.
What's your name?
My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. By the way, there's some vehicles outside that have some bombs, just to let you know. Your people are going to get it, and I'm going to ignite it if they try to do anything stupid.
Okay, I understand that, and I'll pass that along. Can you tell me what vehicle? Because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
No. Well, you need to know that they need to stop bombing Syria and Iraq. The U.S. is collaborating with Russia, and they're killing innocent women and children, okay?
I hear what you're saying.
My homeboy, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, did his thing on the Boston Marathon. My homeboy, Munir Abu Salha, did his thing, okay? So now it's my turn, okay?
All right, so that is him. Now he claims he's an Islamic soldier.
Yep.
Right now, is this just someone that is like, is this someone who's like, hey, realizes they were of Nordic descent and now believe they should like learn Norwegian and like cook only in Norwegian food? Is that the situation we have going on here, or is this guy an actual member of ISIS? Like, when you hear stuff like that, I mean, like, what are you?
I think it's more of trying to get back to your roots, like, oh, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the fad, in a sense. Like, I don't think this guy is pure from the get ISIS. I think he
I believe he's 24, 25 here.
yeah, it just seems like, because the two guys that did the Boston, they were younger too. I mean, I think it was, hey, this is what our, the homeland is doing. This is what they want us to carry out, in a sense. Not, I think it's just kind of like a recruit thing.
He says, my homeboy Tsarnaev, like, and people are like, did he have relation? Was he blood relation to this guy? And to me, that just sounds like, hey, like my main man did down in Boston, like more like my bro type of
exactly
sentence. I didn't see like anything that had to do with like these guys were,
related
friendly even to that level. Like, he heard about him, he thought, God dang it, like, good for him,
yeah exactly.
All right, I'm gonna share this clip that was shared the day of June 12th by CBS. Can you see that? Can you see that just now?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna play it. There might be an ad here because it's CBS, and I'm never gonna pay for any type of subscription here. But this just sort of gives you, this is an article from that time, June 12th, 2016, 11:36 p.m. from CBS, and their story is ISIS claims responsibility for Orlando nightclub attack that left 50 dead. I think it's fascinating that this hasn't loaded. I almost wonder if it's been taken down, because this shows that the news had like the right angle from the beginning. Like, oh, there's definitely he's throwing out what's going on in Syria and Iraq. He's talking about this one general that was killed by Obama, al-Baghdadi, um, and then ISIS comes out and says that they take credit for this attack. Now, ISIS just is this ISIS just like hopping on the train here? Could very well be.
Yeah, yeah.
Be like, hey, yeah, he says it. He killed a bunch of gay people.
A bunch of Americans are dead. Yeah, it fits the narrative, fits their bill. They're gonna take it and claim it.
Just claim it. Now they also took claim to the Vegas shooting.
Yeah, but that was that I don't I that the only reason that doesn't fit the bill is the Vegas shooter was supposedly the one man they shoved down your face was a white gentleman, wasn't he? Like an older.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
Yeah.
this Orlando thing. It's like when you're a part of those cults or those fan clubs, and they're like, okay, this is what you need to do to be a part of it, and everyone gets their own little list, and then that's why I feel like that's how these little networks and groups work. I mean, I think all of these people, I mean, are just trying to be a part of it. And I mean, it could go easily back to all the little cells that are all over the United States, supposedly, and everyone has an agenda that when certain dates and times are in place, hey, this is what you're tasked to do. You will be you will go down with your life, but you will be given the holy whatever that they fucking believe in, because you're carrying out the mission from with inside. I don't know.
Okay. Now, why did the Obama administration, and I can show you this from CBS News, just do it here real quick. DOJ reverses course here. It says the Obama administration on Monday released a full uncensored transcript of Orlando shooter Amar Mateen. It still would be 4 months later before you could hear the actual audio, but they gave us the transcript. Now, the original one was heavily redacted, based off of Attorney General Loretta Lynch. I forgot she had took over for Eric Holder in the second half, in the Justice Department there. And said that they had removed all of the pledging of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. They had taken away the anything to do with ISIS on the transcript, and their justification for it was, in a statement by Loretta Lynch to redact the transcript, was to remain sensitive to the interest of the surviving victims, their families, and to the integrity of the ongoing investigation.
But why? What does that mean? What does it even mean? Like this?
She said, we're not going to be, for example, broadcasting his pledges of allegiance. We are trying not to re-victimize those who went through that horror. She said that on the George Stephanopoulos show. She said it caused an unnecessary distraction from the FBI's work on the investigation, and so they would not, share that information. And that's a good question. Is why? Are you satisfied with those reasons?
No.
Doesn't this sound like JFK when JFK was assassinated and then they killed Oswald, and the guy's defense for the first 3 months, the guy that killed Oswald, Jack Ruby. His defense team came up with the defense that he could not bear to see Jackie Kennedy go through a trial of her husband's killer.
Yeah.
That's the same excuse they've been using for 60 years.
Yeah. It plays. It scores the touchdown. So why not? I mean, they just dust it off. They're like, it's not original. None of this. It's all just recycled. Just fucking
like
different character.
These guys got a folder.
Yeah, it's like who makes Madden? They just copy and paste the previous Maddens, and they just give it they put the rookies in and update the uniform. The shit's the same. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, well, it gets deeper than that, May. I'm going to pull up his Wikipedia file, share it with you. Right here, it says that Omar Mateen, born.
See, that doesn't even look like the same guy that looks like the middle guy in the video that we watched. Because they showed the guy on the left. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Oh, no, they were showing the Boston bomber on the left and then this guy on the right.
Who's the guy with all the teeth smiling when they did the 3?
I'm pretty sure that was the Boston bomber when he was, because that's when he was talking about that. No, this is Omar. Or wait, this is Omar Amir Sadiq, also known as Omar Mateen. He was born in New York to Afghan American parents. He moved to Florida as a child. I think, and granted, we are on Wikipedia, the Internet Book of Knowledge, but I always think this is interesting. Like as soon as someone goes up and shoots up a club, they're like, well, he's shown a lifestyle of an interest in violence, and he could never pay attention in school, and he always got suspended. But I started doing a little more research on this guy, and there's some interesting connections with him. First of all, born in Long Island. So take that, Long Island. Not everyone you produce is a great artist. Some of them are terrorists. Go fuck yourself.
So he was born in the United States.
Yeah, he's an American. And born in a Jewish hospital too, which I think is probably haunted him.
Is that ironic or what is that? Yeah.
His father, Mir Sadiq Mateen, is from Herat and immigrated from Afghanistan in the 80s during the Mujahideen era. Remember this?
Sure
Mujahideen in the 80s. Rocky made a movie about it. This is when his dad comes from Afghanistan to America, becomes a naturalized citizen in 89, 9 years later. He was a secret informant for the FBI at times between January 2005 and June 2016.
Ooh.
He also owns a nonprofit company named the Durand Jirga Inc., based in Port St. Lucie, Florida. He hosts a political commentary show that aired on a California-based Payam-e-Afghan television channel in which he expresses anti-Pakistani views. His mother, Shahala Mateen, was taken into custody after she attacked her husband while he was brushing his teeth in 2002. So interesting parents.
Yes.
Right off the bat. Some interesting parents. Now I know what you're thinking, and the question is, yes, we've got a picture of his poppy right here. Mir Sadiq Omar Mateen's father. 5 fast facts you need to know. This is the guy right here.
Look at that dick broom. Well, that's impressive.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it is a great mustache. It's and thick hair.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's got to be like 80 at this point.
Well, I want to know why his son cut his hair by a fucked up barber when his dad's got a nice head of hair on him.
All right, couple things about this guy. Declared his candidacy for Afghan presidency. Yeah, should we watch a little clip of him?
Sure.
Let's see what this guy's all about here. First of all, into the music.
ساین به اصطلاح در مقابل دولت انگلیس باید وظیفه دولت انگلیس است که در قسمت
Is this guy an Alex Jones for Afghanistan's?
I think so. I think
در
so.
بردن خط دیورند
See, can we see him getting angry? That's what I want. I already heard him talking shit about Pakistan. I don't even speak.
That language, though, everything sounds so angry. It's like, it's just like, gosh.
German equivalent of.
و او کسایی که در داخل افغانستان نوکرایش است، او نوکرای فروخته شده به اصطلاح آیسای در داخل کنی و چی ارزش نداره. روزی خداوند است، قدر شما داریم. اما ای که چطور در زندگی شما یک افغانتون عزت میکنین، فامیلیتون عزت میکنین.
All right, so that's his dad, right? Just so you have an idea here.
That is the Alex Jones knockoff version.
Yeah. He supports the Taliban in Afghanistan. Big fan of the old tally, which would make sense because if he escaped in the 1980s, the Taliban was the good team back then, if you remember.
Okay.
So Taliban was the Taliban was fighting back the Russians. They were the good team. We gave them all sorts of weapons that they used against us in the 2000s.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he said the attack had nothing to do with religion. That's what he said. Despite his strong political and religious views, Sadiq insists that the Orlando mass shooting had nothing to do with religion. He stated the following to NBC News: "This has nothing to do with religion. We are saying we are apologizing for the whole incident. We weren't aware of any action he is taking. We are in shock like the whole country." Sadiq and Mateen were enraged when he saw two men kissing a couple of months ago in Miami and suspects the incidents had something to do with the massacre. He owns a nonprofit company, the Duran Jirga Incorporated, which we talked about earlier. This is started in 2010. And then we already knew this. He was of Afghanistan descent.
He looks like he's trying to fit into that Orlando gay club right there in that photo, but you know.
Well, that's interesting because like there was some accounts where like he secretly was gay, and this was like his way to redeem himself was to, you know, kill the thing that he loved. Who knows? You can come up. I literally listen, and I think that was just like a way to like sort of defame him. But nonetheless, there was a cover-up going on, and this guy clearly had father involved with the FBI.
Yes.
No doubt. I mean, open, no doubt, father was involved with the FBI as an informant for like 30 years. Right? So, I mean, that's some...
It makes it hard to, like, when dad's involved with the FBI and now a mass shooting is taking place right in the thick of election politic time, it almost just come on. What I mean, hey, we need your son. His card was pulled. He needs to carry out. He needs to do. I don't know. I mean, that's
well. It
stinks.
You're right. Something does stink. It gets deeper here. Let's go into his post-secondary education employment. All right. So had a rough time in school. Finally graduates in 2003 from Martin County Stewart Adult Vocational School. He had been suspended for 48 days for being involved in fights and injuring other students. So, probably did have some issues, when it came to that. Mateen attended Indian River State College for criminal justice. In his questionnaire, he admitted to being involved in a crime that was undetected. He went on to earn an Associate's of Science degree in Criminal Justice Technology from the college in 2006. He worked in a number of local stores and restaurants while attending school. In 2006, so hard worker, he began working as a recruit for the Florida Department of Corrections, being assigned to the Martin Correctional Institution. And it's interesting, like they have his applications, right? So he said that he experimented with marijuana when he was a young teenager. He was arrested at school when he was 14. Following the Virginia Tech shooting in 2007, he suggested in a training class that he should bring his gun to class. And that got him dismissed.
He's
But
just trying
then-
to protect himself.
But then that is interesting, right? That is interesting because what exactly did he mean? Did he mean like, hey, I need to protect myself? Or did he mean like, hey, maybe I should do the same thing this guy? Like,
Yes.
I can
The answer is yes.
But then it gets a little bit more interesting, May, because in 2007, until his death in 2016, so for 9 years, Mateen got a job working for a British-based security firm called G4S Secure Solutions from Jupiter, Florida, that was originally based in Britain. All right. And not just that, 6 years before his mass shooting, Mateen, while working for G4S, is interviewed and appears on a documentary called The Big Fix. The 2012 documentary about Deepwater Horizon's oil spill. Now, this is what he said in his interview. Nobody gives a shit here. Everybody's just get out to get paid. Like they're hoping for more oil to come out and more people to complain so they'll have jobs. They want more disasters to happen.
I mean, that sounds pretty right. Because
Well,
more disasters means more people are getting their pockets stuffed. I mean, he's not wrong. He is. What'd you say? Don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Yep. That's exactly it. And that's what he was observing. G4S. Now, this is a security company, right? And maybe we take a gander at their page here on let's see here, G4S Global. Here is their web page right here. Right, this is a company he worked for. Who we are, our people, our employees. Look at these guys. They're just providing security. Nothing weird about that. What we do. Let's take a look at what they do. What we do. Cash solutions. That's interesting. Risk assessment, risk management and consulting services, security systems and service, security and guarding services. I mean, let's see, social responsibility. I mean, securing our climate. These guys seem like a legit company, right? Look at this. Employee welfare. The welfare of our employees is paramount importance to us, and all our businesses aim to ensure employees are supported during difficult times. See these guys? These are just like, your mall cops, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Oh, slavery and human trafficking statement. It's an interesting thing to have on your website. Huh?
Yeah, you got to fit in to get in.
I guess. Let's see how they're stopping human trafficking.
They're stopping it with those hats.
Look at this. Look at this guy. Yes. Yes. They got a code of conduct. That's good. Got to sign a form saying you're not going to traffic. Oh, they've got a trafficking statement from. Oh man, they got to do one every year.
Yeah,
Every year.
You gotta stay on top of it. You can't slip because one day you'll want to traffic a human.
You just
So,
never know.
yeah,
Let's take a look at their very first one. See if they've improved it. Here is a slavery and human trafficking statement from 2016. Let's see. Our supplier code of conduct sets out requirements and expectations for international human rights. All suppliers are expected to comply. Interesting. Migrant work employer. Right, don't hire illegals. Whistleblowing. Okay, all right. That's good for them.
standard
Good for them.
little
Yeah,
PDF.
I'm gonna just take a look at their new one. This is from last year. Ooh, we got bold lettering now. It's interesting. Seemed like they tidied it up a little bit. Good for
They
them.
did.
We got bullet points here. That's good. Little links so we can see more about it. Okay. All right. So obviously these guys are up and up.
Yes.
And then what's a little weird, May, is then Vanity Fair did an article about this company.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to see that article?
Yeah.
I thought you might find this interesting. Let's see here. I'm sharing this. Vanity Fair with the title on April 2014, 2 years before the Orlando shooting takes place. They are called the Chaos Company from the Vanity Fair magazine. Wherever governments can't or won't maintain order, from oil fields in Africa to airports in Britain and nuclear facilities in America, the London-based global security behemoth G4S has been filling that void. It is the world's third largest private sector employer and commands a force 3 times the size of the British military.
Wow.
On site in South Sudan with G4S ordnance disposal teams, William Alongfaishi learns just how dirty the job can get and how perilous the company's control. I mean, this guy you go into research of this company he worked for, dude, and it's not good. It's not good. It turns out these guys are one of the largest armies in the world.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm gathering from this.
And when was the height of their career or of their company's business was during the Iraq Afghanistan war, in which they supplied thousands of security detail to protect corporation interests. That's the company.
Oh boy. He cut out. We were talking about a company.
No, that's the company. That's the company Omar worked for.
Yep.
So sorry, I gotta reset my camera here. Okay, so still feeling lone wolf here?
No, not after that. No. Nope. That goes back into here's your assignment. You know what we expect. That screams of filth and nastiness.
It does.
I wonder what their PTO policy is. I wonder if they have good benefits. But yeah, that's shit, right in front now.
Hey, how's it going? I had to reset my camera here. No, so I mean, I'm telling you, May, a lot of weird stuff when it comes to Omar Mateen. A lot of weird stuff.
Now, do you think he works for a company that's supposed to clean up the filth and protect certain interests? Does he see the gays in that community as filth and he needed to clean it up, or does it go back to he was secretly, into that, and then, like you said, to cleanse himself, That's interesting. There's a lot of different little avenues you can go down with this, but that definitely doesn't seem like a lone wolf situation now with this Orlando shooting. I mean, I don't know.
It's odd. It's very odd.
But there are no, with the Orlando thing, there are no, like, that I understand or remember, there are no accounts of people saying they've seen, multiple shooter. Like in Vegas, there was all those people that were like, no, fuck that. There was not just one human being. This, you don't
one human
ever
being.
you don't ever talk about, you don't ever hear
And
anything.
I mean, what happens? I don't know if it makes a difference if it was lone wolf or not at this point. It is there's just a lot of weird, interesting coincidences with Omar Mateen and what his background was, who his parents were,
Yeah.
who his friends were. Let me share this one here. Moner Muhammad Abu Salah. This guy right here is the first American to go over to Syria and kill himself as a suicide bomber. Yeah, I'm gonna play you the Wall Street Journal clip right here. First American citizen involved in a suicide bombing in Syria civil war. He's a 22-year-old from Florida. Went to the same church as Omar Mateen. The mosque, is what they call them. And for those of you listening, he carried out a suicide truck bombing in the Idlib province.
My name is Abu Huraira. From America. 22 years old.
This guy has an Italian mother, and his father was from Afghanistan. This guy looks straight like a farm boy out of the Midwest.
He looks like a chunky,
he's
version of an Amish.
He's got the beard, but everything else, if you shave this guy's face, he looked like a farm boy from the Midwest.
You think jihad is evil and terrorism?
Yes, I do.
This has nothing to do. Terrorism, these are the true terrorists.
Oh, that's true too.
Mujahid wouldn't even kill one child.
I think they did.
But these kuffar killed many children. Okay. Not just Bashar and his troops, America and their troops, the Yahud and their troops, China and all their troops, Russia, NATO, everyone have gone into lands and killed many Muslims, your brothers and your sisters. How can you, America, say that this is your land? This is not your land. This is God's land. God's the one who created it. You don't own it. Have you created the dirt? Did you create the trees? Did you create the water? When the rain falls into the ground, make trees and the fruits grow. Allah says in the Quran, we do it, not you, we. I lived in America. I know how it is. You have all the fancy amusement parks.
Just to pause this outlet here, that's not covered properly.
No.
It's driving me
crazy. The placement of his gun, like he should put the barrel more over his head. Like, like
good. You're bouncing around a lot. You're angry. It's an AK.
He's just asking for that fucking bullet to go right up through his snout.
That's probably where they're like, he showed up to the war front, and they're like, you can drive a bus into a fucking school.
You pudgy boy. You could drive.
And the restaurants and the food and all this crap and the cars, and you think you're happy. You're not happy. You're never happy. I was never happy. I was always sad and depressed. Life sucked.
Isn't that interesting? Never happy. I was never happy.
Get some fucking hobbies.
Say what now?
Get some fucking hobbies. What do you mean you were never happy? You lived in a great state in Florida. Besides alligators and bath salts, what do you got to fucking complain about down there? I mean, God damn it.
Yes. We are coming for you, alhamdulillah. And I am glad to say this. Finally, I get behind cameras and say this, you kuffar, you kafir, you big dajjal. We are coming for you. Mark my words. Listen to my words, you big kuffar. You think, that you killed Osama bin Laden. You did nothing. You sent him to Jannah, alhamdulillah. You sent him to paradise.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So this was his buddy. He gives him a shout out in the dispatch call.
Really?
Yeah, they went to the same mosque together in Florida.
Maybe we need to look into this mosque. Oh, I'm sure the FBI does, and they just like, oh, that's our sleeper cell. Can't fuck with them.
Well, it's interesting because when Omar Mateen went to buy 1,000 rounds, when he went to buy 1,000 rounds, and I forget what type of gun he was trying to buy at the store, they denied him service and then promptly called the FBI. And according to the FBI, they have no record of a phone call being made.
Of course they don't.
And when this guy left for Syria to carry out his truck bombing, they interviewed Omar Mateen and wrote him off as not a risk.
I don't like that. That stinks. I don't like. How many times is this going to happen where I'm sure, didn't the FBI, they had concerns and questions about the two who did the bombing, and they just, nah, it's not going to shake out. There's nothing to that. Like, how many times are there going to be right under their nose, and they just let them go? They're like a fart in a blanket. It just waves on and goes about. That doesn't make any sense. That's why I feel like all of this is just, it's out of a playbook. It's not just by happenstance, by chance. It's everyone has these fucking orders. That's why all these people just get left go and so be it. And then they want to be like, oh well, we need to take guns away. We need to do all this. No, you need to fucking do your jobs and stand on business and quit letting these people that you know are harmful, that are going to cause harm, just to go. Like, I know you can't because they fit your agenda that you want to push down later down our throats. But I mean, son of a bitch, like, get a little bit more creative with it nowadays.
Here's my thing, May. Just be honest. When these things happen, be honest as to the motive as to why they happen. And the whole reason I did this episode was in Perry, Iowa, there was a school shooting that took 5 lives. Or I think it took 2 lives, maybe. I can't. No, I'm horrible. But in Iowa, Perry, Iowa, and there is no coverage on it. And why is there no coverage on it? Because it's exactly the same thing that happened in Colorado Springs. It's exactly the same thing that happened in Tennessee. These people that are committing these shootings that get no coverage are people who are on heavy doses of medication, on mood-altering drugs, and are going through a what do they call that, body dysphoria disease, in which they hate their own bodies, and in the process of hating their own bodies they begin to hate everyone else. And you have a horrible outburst where people are shot up in a church, people are shot up in a school, and it's happening here in the Midwest, where we're supposed to be insulated from these matters.
Yes,
it's a matter of time before it happens in South Dakota. It's a matter of time because the system is rigged to create people who don't fit in the system, become morbidly depressed about it, and then find fanaticism somewhere else, and find acceptance somewhere else. It's a tale old as time. When it comes to, these are kids. That kid, he didn't know what he was talking about. Mujahideen never has killed a baby. Oh, BS. War is war. Like, everyone's killing everyone in wartime.
Yeah, you kill or you get killed.
It's idealistic. It was idealistic. That's why he was perfect to blow himself up. He was exactly the type of ideologue you want to go do something crazy like that. And is America right for what they do? Absolutely not. It should anyone get shot up in a club? No. Can we expect this to happen all the time? Yes. Yes, because we can't keep our fucking hands out of other people's affairs.
Yeah.
As you know, as soon as we stop bombing other people's kids, maybe our kids won't grow up to be fucked up and want to go bomb our kids. Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100. Our hands are so dirty and in so many cookie jars. We're sleeping with so many single moms in the neighborhood. It is unreal. It's bad.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Like how much we have just meddled with people's lives, destroyed whole families. You know, there's a who was I can't remember who I was looking into, some famous guy, and out of 44 family members, his dad was the only one to escape Auschwitz, the concentration camp. Out of 44 family members, his dad was the only one to escape. And then I can't remember who it was. It's some famous kid, grows up to be famous, makes a lot of money. What happens if the other 44 survived?
Yeah.
And this is the exact same thing that's going on with and I almost wonder if working for this company didn't expose him to what was going on as far as military contractors.
100%.
G4S, the company he worked for, is in charge of all the detainment camps in West Gaza. They're hired by the Israeli government to run their concentration camps in Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That company played a part, played a hand. It did the almost the little droplet, and it caught fire and
something's weird about it. And there's no conclusion on this show. It's just, you can look at this, you can honestly do like 3 hours of research and just know that whatever the story is, we'll never know. We'll never know what happened here, but we do know that the DOJ purposely withheld that information until the actual audio calls were released in September. And that is a beautiful thing about the American system, for as flawed and horrible it has become. There's some rules even they can't avoid. And when it comes to FOIA requests, I mean, obviously they, with JFK, they've avoided it, with a lot of other things, they've avoided it, but every now and then it catches them. It catches them, and we get to glimpse into what these fuckers are doing. Jimmy Dore, I don't know if you ever watched the Jimmy Dore show.
No.
And it ties into what Devin said. It's like, wake me up when the revolution happens, because that's almost at what this point. There was a study done by Princeton in 2013 or 2014 that described the actual political structure of the United States country. Like we're told it's a democracy, which we both know it's not, wasn't designed as a democracy. It's a republic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But, you could say the German government considered itself a republic, and obviously they were fascists. A government can describe itself however it wishes to be. What it actually is different.
Yeah, 100%.
Princeton did a study on what the United States government actually is. And if you get a chance to look into this, it's fascinating, because since 2001, Princeton has designated us as a oligarchical country. We are ran as an oligarchy. Which is interesting, because it was the first thing Putin did when he came into power in Russia was remove the oligarchy that had been making, the same. So, countries took two different paths at that point in the early 2000s. We might have to do an episode on it, actually, because it's a fascinating study. They interviewed, I forget how many hundreds of thousands of people, and from poor to middle class to corporate interest to I forget what the other one was. And then they align it with the political legislation that's done over a period of 1980 to 1999. And the interest of everyone that was in corporate was what was being legislated through, and the middle class and the lower class, which had been interviewed, none of their policies had been, so it's interesting. It's an interesting study done by Princeton. But anyway, that's for another show. On Tuesday, Topical Tuesday, if you can make it, crazy stories. We got to get into the Texas thing a little bit. Did you see what's going on there with natural gas and now the Biden? I think yesterday was the end of the deadline. So there's
no. I got to look into that because I know we were talking about it in the chat. I gotta take a peek. See, Texas is they got a little hotbed of stories going on.
Yes, yeah,
in that tiny little state of Texas.
It's gotten. I mean, what do you think the odds are Texas succeeding from the union? Like, I mean, 10-1.
10-1 if I put money on that.
Mm.
It'd be interesting to see because I mean they've
got the clause. They've got the clause.
If you do that, like then now you have to protect from the rest of the United States and then below you in Mexico. Like how would that work? Because the way Texas is sandwiched, like do they have the infrastructure, the power? Do they have all that to protect the North and the South? And
you got a huge military, dude.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, yeah, it'd be interesting.
Do you think, like, as the federal government leaves Texas, like they left Afghanistan, and there's like Texans holding on to the wheels trying to get to Mississippi, just to get, like a bunch of liberals, like, get us out of Texas.
Yeah, I moved to Austin and I don't like it.
There's like a pregnant, non-gendered person. Just holding on for dear life. You see him fall.
And then they go to Mississippi and
she wanted an abortion anyway, so it worked out.
They'd be real fucked. They get relocated to Louisiana or Mississippi, and they're like, "Oh shit, we fucked up." I want to go back.
Well, if Texas becomes its own country, they are expanding up to Mexico City, and there will be a never-ending war into Central America. That will be Texas. They'll be like, "We got terrorist attacks with the gangs of Mexico, and we're just going to have to take over Mexico." I reckon that's just what we got to do: protect our southern flank in Texas fashion.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That would be wild.
Does Texas get nukes as its own country? Do they have silos there already? Could they just I mean, dear God, you can't give Texas nukes.
I'm sure they would just fit their F-350s and 550s with the smokestacks and just roll up portable just systems and
rolling coal on Mexico.
Yeah, here we go. What a time to be alive.
It's beautiful.
Let's see if that shakes out before we're in the ground.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. We will be back Tuesday with more crazy news stories. And until next time, remember, we're a podcast with a curious mind.
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. This is our advice to take the following steps. If exposed, remove the clothes.